Hey friends, this is Nick, and I call my channel DZ Performance, and I really appreciate you tuning in. This weekend's video is going to be just basically upcoming projects and information about what I'm going to be doing the next 6 months here on the channel, probably 6 months or more. So I'm going to start out with the 400 small block versus the 396 project. I did a video last weekend, and it was you guys sent in a ton of really cool comments, and I think there was 447 comments so far on that video. 112,000 views. It was a lot of people interested in that project. I'm going to redo this 400 versus the 396 again. I'm going to try to make the specifications even tighter and squeeze a little more horsepower out of them. Then in the fall of 25, I plan on putting these motors and drag testing them in my 1973 Camaro that's pictured there behind the motors. That's my street strip drag week car, drag and drive vehicle. I've owned that for over 30 years. That makes me sound so old, but I've had it since I was a kid. So let me show you some of the upcoming projects, and I'm going to do a little inventory tour at the end of the video. Hang tight. Okay, I wear out the phrase that I'm very excited to bring you a certain project, but I can't express to you how anxious I am, how excited I am to bring you this project. This is my $1,275 small block Chevy, 3 different cubic inches, 3 different motors that I'm bringing you. No new parts. It's all Facebook Marketplace, swap meet stuff, flex hone, fresh rings, bearings, cleaning the parts. This is a 400 small block with Vortec heads with a stock cam. Not kind of stock, it's completely stock. The numbers on it, it's a factory cam. So I'm going to do it with a 307 small block Chevy, as I said, a 350, and a 400. And going to dyno all 3 of them the same day and see what we come up with. I'll tag a couple pictures of the 307 and the 350 right behind this, but this is the $1,275 cheap small block Chevy challenge fun build that I'm going to do here in the next weeks. Okay, next up, I'm going to show off some of my core motors that I scored this year. It was a tremendous year for hunting for cores. I don't know if the higher gas prices and the economy aided in that, but I had good luck this year. What I'm looking for is 4-bolt main, 445 castings. There's a couple of these are 2 bolts, but they're standard bore. And for storage purposes, the 781s and 049s that I'm going to use on these motors, I have put a couple bolts in them and I'm holding them on these motors. They are packages or core units that will make 600 horsepower 454 big block Chevy sometime in the future. Okay, I'm not going to explore all the motors that I have here in my shop, but I will show you what is I've got uncovered here in the storage room right now. That is my 357 small block Chevy. It has made as much as 437 horsepower with a hydraulic roller, Extreme Energy 224, 230 at 50 thousandths. I currently have double humps on it and preparing to dyno test it sometime soon. I'm hoping for around 400 horse with this setup. This is my, what I call the Motorhome 454. You've seen this on my channel. If you've watched any of my videos, I've made some upgrades to it. It started out at 378 horsepower, just stock with rocker arms and an intake. And then I switched to some smaller combustion chamber 396 heads, and we got about an extra 10 horses out of it that way. So that project is in progress. That's a series that I'm doing of a Motorhome 454. I gave $1,000 for that motor, and it was an extremely clean, low mile motor. That is my GM Performance Parts HO motor with a ZZ 502 cam, 224 at 50 thousandths on the intake, and my bone stock 781s. I did a video on that to where that short block is made as much as 570 horse, but I tried an absolutely stock set of 781s with just a valve spring upgrade, and it did 454 horsepower, 1 horsepower per cube that way. But I'd never seen anybody run an absolutely stock set of 781s, no fancy valve job or any porting at all. So that was a project. That's my 470 cubic inch. It's a 70 over 454 Gen 6. I bought that cylinder block new at Summit several years ago. That's my 505. I haven't ran it for several years. That's my Magic 468. It has Airflow Research heads on it. It's got one of my custom cams in it, about 10-to-1 compression, and it made 654 horsepower last time it ran with an Edelbrock air gap. That is a 496 that I have for sale that made right at 600 horse. I suppose it made 607 horsepower, 637 foot-pounds of torque. That's a 496 that I have for sale. This is my Stroker 396. It is a 436 cubic inch big block Chevy. It's got a 454 crank in it, Keith Black pistons. I've done a video on that, and I intend on putting that in my Nova sometime soon. I'm going to do a dyno comparison of a long stroke versus a short stroke 427. That's what they call that package right there in the old days, or in years gone by, that it is it's a longer stroke 396 that makes the same cubic inches as a bored out 427. Okay, I'll run through the rest of these and try to make it quick. I've got a 461 with 30cc dome Hyper Eutectics. That motor is set here for over a year, and I haven't completed that project or used it, sold it. 509 block ready to build. That block is 20 over. This is a 509 block, 30 over, freshly built, ready to go to the dyno as soon as I can get it put together. That's a 406 509 casting block. That's a 327 that I took in on trade that needs some work that I'm preparing to tear down and evaluate, rebuild. That is a 357, but the block is a 1967 327. I put a small Journal 350 crank in it, and it is now a 357 cubic inch. I've got some classic double hump heads. It's the right year. They are, a 1967 head. I will do a dyno on that motor. It's just got an RV cam in it. It's just going to probably be a low 300 horsepower. That's my 350 that I just showed you a picture of, that's going to be in the $1,275 cheap engine challenge that I'm going to, each motor, maximum budget $1,275. That's a 350 Chevy standard bore. That is a 30 over, no, that's a standard bore, 10cc, 454 block, 10cc pistons. That's my 70 over 427. It's really a 454 block with a 396 crank, Keith Black pistons. I'm going to use this for the comparison against the Stroker 396. That's a 461 Gen 6 that I got down there, new block, never ran. And then over here I have another stash of 781s, 049s. I've got 454 blocks, one being a good 4-bolt main. Okay, that's the completion of my tour and upcoming projects. that is most of the motors that I own, not all of them, but pretty close. This is, I'll wrap it up with my 496. A friend of mine, Eric, that I've done some dyno testing with, he calls it the Dyno Mule, but it's my 496. I've actually dyno tested this in 5 states, 5 different shops in the last couple years. And sometime soon I'm going to release a video of the comparison between the difference in between different dyno shops and the different readings that you get. This is Nick. Thanks for watching.